Hey guys, what is going on? McMole2 here, welcome back. Today I'm showing you a reveal of BB-8. He is a brand new character in the game. I know a lot of people were concerned we haven't seen a new character in at least a couple weeks. That's been a big concern in the player base is we just don't have enough new characters. So yeah, we got another new character, hooray! But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about his kit. We'll talk about his viability in Arena, and we'll really dive into the raids, because I think he's going to be a huge character for your raid teams, especially with your Droid and Resistance teams. First up, we have BB-8's basic attack, Arc Welder. It deals physical damage to the target enemy and inflicts tenacity down for 2 turns. If the target already has tenacity down, and instead inflicts daze for 2 turns. Next up, you have a special attack, Covert Data Transfer. BB-8 and a random ally who don't have the secret intel unique buff gain it for 3 turns. Then BB-8 gains 8% turn meter for each ally with the buff. And if all active allies are droids, BB-8 gains taunt for 1 turn. The secret intel buff gives 25% additional potency to the ally, and whenever another ally uses a special ability, they also gain the secret intel for 3 turns, and then the cooldown of Illuminated Destiny is reduced by 1 for each ally with secret intel. And then BB-8's other special ability, Illuminated Destiny, you saw it referred to in his Covert Data Transfer. It dispels all debuffs on all allies and exposes all enemies for 2 turns. All allies gain 80% turn meter and gain advantage, crit chance up, crit damage up, speed up, and offense up for 4 turns. Lots of buffs there. Droid and Resistance allies recover 20% protection. This ability starts on a cooldown, which is a 70-turn cooldown, and this ability cannot be evaded. Whenever a Droid ally scores a critical hit, reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1. BB-8 also has 2 unique abilities. His first unique is called Roll with the Punches. BB-8 has an 80% counter chance whenever he attacks out of turn, i.e. he counters, he calls a random resistance ally to assist. And his second unique ability is Self-Preservation Protocol. Whenever BB-8 takes damage, he has a 50% chance to gain Foresight for 2 turns. At the start of each encounter, if BB-8 is active, droid allies gain 8% turn meter for each active droid ally, and when BB-8 evades, droid allies recover 8% health and 8% protection. In terms of arena viability, BB-8 is not going to be a game changer for your Resistance or Droid teams. Droids haven't been part of the meta since 2016. There's too much anti-crit now. They really have no place thanks to General Kenobi and Rex and Zeta Barris. So Droids, don't even bother trying to use him with Droids in Arena. It's just not going to work. And for Resistance, they're pretty good on offense already. The problem with them is defense. They just don't prioritize the exposed targets. So BB-8 is not going to help in any way with that. The footage that I have here I know is not the best. It's at 1x speed. It's not really that good. Apologies for that, but it's what we were given. So there's not much to talk about with Arena because you guys can already tell it's just not going to really change anything there. Let's instead talk about the raids because I think BB-8 is going to be a really big game changer, not just for droids, but also going to make your Resistance teams way more deadly in the raids. For BB-8, he's going to make your Resistance teams way more deadly in the raids. That's because of what he brings to the table with his kit. His secret intel buff is going to get spread around every time an ally uses a special ability. And as you know, Resistance allies, they use a lot of special abilities to provide exposes. Those exposes also give turn meter increases and cooldown reductions. Those cooldown reductions are going to really help with your Illuminated Destiny, getting that off cooldown a whole lot quicker with the bonus buffs and the bonus turn meter, as well as the protection recovery. That's going to be huge for your Resistance teams overall. And then, of course, the tenacity down is the one major thing that you can't ignore. The tenacity down in his basic is going to be a really big factor for your Resistance teams. The usual thing that has determined how well your Resistance teams does is the RNG with the exposes and getting resisted. That tenacity down is going to make it so it's only a 15% exposed or resistance chance for any debuff that's applied to the target. So getting that tenacity down on the main body of the tank and then just going hand with expose abilities, you have Resistance Pilot and Finn who both use specials for exposes, same with Poe and his taunt, and then Resistance Trooper has the expose on his basic attack. All of those abilities are going to do a lot of exposes, so using him in a team like that is really going to make a Resistance team do a lot of exposes, do a lot of damage, have a lot of short cooldowns, and then the shorter the cooldowns are with Illuminated Destiny, the more often they're going to have protection recovery, the more often they're going to do damage, and those buffs can't be understated. All those attacks plus the cooldown reductions is going to make your Resistance team huge. So here in this image, you can see an optimal Resistance team lineup. You have the Zeta Finn lead with Resistance Trooper, Poe, Pilot, and BB-8. Like I already said, the tenacity down from BB-8's basic is going to really maximize the exposed chances, and the specials from Resistance allies will spread the secret intel, preventing the massive damage from the airstrike in Phase 4. As you guys may have seen in the recent patch notes, special buffs that are unique will now prevent massive damage from the airstrike, so anything like Luke's call to action and the Master's training from from Hermit Yoda. Any kind of unique buff like that is now going to prevent the massive damage, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And then the Illuminated Destiny is going to be able to help provide a final push for damage before you go into the next topple phase. That's going to help make sure that your team is going to really get that last amount of damage in before the tank rises up, get that nice little push of damage at the very end, really help maximize your damage as well. So there's a lot of synergy here with the Resistance Raid team with all these exposes, and of course Resistance Trooper, he is going to be a monster with all the exposes going on. So this is a definite team to look at for Resistance Raid teams. If you want to also try to use Rey, you could try to replace her with someone else, but Rey doesn't really have exposes, so she's going to be a liability here. Same with R2-D2. He doesn't really have any exposes, but you could try to use him in combination with BB-8 at some point. And then for droid teams in the raid as well, you have an HK-47 Lee with IG-86, 88, Chief Nebbit or Jawa Engineer, I'm not sure about that yet, and of course BB-8 in the final slot. The self-preservation is going to give a 32% turn meter boost to droids at the start of the turn because he has the 8% per droid ally. The covert data transfer and lots of critical hits from droids is really going to help give you a lot of cooldown reduction on the Illuminated Destiny. Of course, every time a droid scores a critical hit, it reduces the cooldown of Illuminated Destiny by 1, and HK-47 really helps make your team go fast with the critical hits with droid allies, 50% turn meter. So all of that is really going to help synergize really well with the raid. And then the Illuminated Destiny is going to act as a sort of heal for your droid teams. That's been a problem with them in the raid, is that they don't have a lot of durability. They lose their protection pretty quickly, so getting that bonus protection regeneration through Illuminated Destiny is going to be pretty big. It's going to help make sure that you can get the protection regen to make sure that your team survives the entire fight. The secret intel buff could be useful as well. A lot of your droid teams will use special abilities. Getting those spread out is going to help make sure that they can get that buff. It'll help them survive the attacks and it'll help them survive the airstrike in Phase 4. So all that together is going to be helpful. With Chief Nebbit or Jawa Engineer, it's kind of iffy. I'm not sure which one's going to work better. That's just something we'll have to test out. But you have the heal over time from Nebbit whenever he taunts. His taunt also reduces the cooldowns for droid allies. And then he also has a special where he calls in 2 allies to assist. He could really call in a lot of droid allies and do a lot of damage there. And of course, the tenacity down from BB-8's basic, again, is going to be useful for the grenade for HK-47, because that grenade applies a lot of debuffs as it is, but it's a 25% chance per debuff. And there's really only a small chance for getting something important like speed down. So making sure you have the tenacity down in place to help make sure that speed down sticks when it applies is going to be useful as well. So a droid team that you can use here like this is probably going to be a pretty good team to use. It's a lot easier to get to for a lot of your newer players because you don't have the Zetas on your Resistance team yet. So your droid team overall is going to be a lot easier for some of your newer players to access. With the Illuminated Destiny and the 70 turn cooldown, that's a pretty long cooldown, and going back to arena viability, it's just not something you can use there because you're just not going to be able to use that ability pretty much ever. And then of course we always discuss that the Resistance teams are not good on defense because they don't really prioritize your exposed targets. So him in arena is not going to be useful there. But with Galactic War, I do think that you could get some usefulness out of him with that. The Illuminated Destiny should be off cooldown by the time you get to your hard nodes like node 6, 9, or 11, whichever nodes are the hard ones in your Galactic War. That Illuminated Destiny could really help push your team up. Getting that bonus turn meter with all those buffs at the very beginning of the fight could really switch the tide in your favor. It's really going to help your team do a lot of damage at the beginning, plus all the exposes that the Destiny move does as well. That's going to really help make your team go fast and do a lot of opening damage, and that's going to make things a lot easier for your Galactic War teams as well. So using him in Galactic War could be a viable possibility as well. Like we said before with Arena, it's not really something that's going to change the game there, but Galactic War, he could be a quite useful character for your Resistance teams and there. And then maybe with droids, if you're using droids in Galactic War, I guess you're using droids in Galactic War. Do people even use droids in Galactic War? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, he's definitely going to be a much useful character with your Resistance teams in Galactic War. As we already know, Galactic War is like the dominating battlefield for Resistance. They just breeze through the entire thing, and you really don't have to worry about things too much. So having your Resistance teams be even better for something like that is going to make things much easier there, especially for your guild challenges like today with the Galactic War nodes. But anyways, that's pretty much it for Galactic War. I think he could be useful there. One other thing to cover real quick before we close out this video, you guys are probably asking, what about territory battles? The problem is, it's a 6-wave encounter. It's not a very long encounter overall. He could probably get Illuminate Destiny off once in the final round. That could help provide a really vital push for your Resistance team. So he could be a useful Resistance character there, but overall, I think a better team would probably be your standard Resistance team with your characters like Finn, Poe, Trooper, Pilot, and Rey. But that's, again, a thing we'll have to test out here. We should be getting an early build of a BB-8 that we can test out and play around with, get some footage of him and bring that out next week, hopefully. So fingers crossed on that, we'll be able to get you some better gameplay footage. Again, apologies for the footage here. It's not the best with Arena. It wasn't really good quality footage, so that's why I spent most of it talking about raids and showing you raid footage. So yeah, apologies again for that. I hope you guys don't get turned off too well by BB-8 with that. I do think he's going to be a very good character, but once we get some better footage of him, we'll be able to know for sure. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask down below in the comments. I'll do what I can to answer them. As always, feel free to like and share and subscribe to my channel for more content in the future. I will talk to you guys later.